Faith is a leap beyond the limits of reason into a relationship with God, even in the face of paradox and uncertainty. What is the point of faith if all answers were known to you, if there was no scope for hope? There comes a moment in our life when logic has reached its limits. Your mind has calculated every possibility, measured every risk, and still remains incapacitated. It is then when faith finds you or you find it, not as the absence of fear, but as a decision where hope is greater than your fear, as trust being the final resolve despite our heart's unwillingness. It may not be exactly the light at the end of the tunnel which we are searching, but simply knowing that there is an end to the tunnel. It is ultimately the understanding that things do not happen to you, but things happen for you. And that's just how things are. Certainty is impossible. But still, in search of certainty, many of us found despair. The despair of not knowing who we are, not doing what we always wanted to. Despair is not becoming the self one is meant to be. All of us are free to choose, but that very freedom produces anxiety. Because standing before countless possibilities is not only exhilarating, but also frightening. That is what Søren Kierkegaard, a Danish philosopher, writer, widely regarded as the father of existentialism, believed. Kierkegaard believed that philosophy should not merely explain reality, but transform the individual who lives it. And I felt, how is this different from what Arjuna felt right before his family in that battlefield? Arjuna says, Vaipathuscha sharire me, romaharchascha jayate, Gandivam sramsate hastat, tvakchaiva paridahyate. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiv is slipping from my hand and my skin is burning. Arjuna is overwhelmed by possibilities, and like Kierkegaard has written, Arjuna stands before multiple possibilities and experiences paralysis. Both recognize that genuine choice produces anxiety. They do not suffer because they lack options. They suffer because every option demands commitment. It is frightening because choosing one possibility means abandoning others. The anxiety is same, but what is different? For Kierkegaard, anxiety is an existential consequence of human freedom. The individual must make a leap of faith because reason cannot remove uncertainty. And that is a statement. Because on the other hand, Arjuna's anxiety is rooted in moha, that is attachment, an attachment to the material world. Lord Krishna does not eliminate Arjuna's freedom. Instead, he transforms Arjuna's understanding of who he is. Kierkegaard observed that reason eventually reaches its limits when faced with life's ultimate questions, God, meaning, morality. There is no proof that removes uncertainty. So he comes with a solution which he called taking the leap of faith. For him, it's an existential act. The individual chooses to trust God despite uncertainty. But several questions remain. How does one know the leap is towards the right object? How can one distinguish genuine faith from fanaticism? What guides action after the leap? How does faith becomes a way of living rather than a single decision? Kierkegaard intentionally leaves these tensions unresolved because for him, faith always contains paradox. But Gita gives a comprehensive answer to this. Gita is the proof. Krishna answers why the leap has to be taken. What happens when you take the leap? What is that leap made of? How to take that leap? Because Krishna educates Arjuna. In educating him, he educates us. He teaches the immortality of the self in chapter 2. The nature of action and karma in chapter 3 to 5, knowledge, meditation, devotion, and God's cosmic nature in chapter 11. And only after explaining everything, in chapter 18 verse 63 he mentions, Iti te jnanamakhyatam guhya guhyataram maya vimrishyetat sheshena yathechasi tatha kuru. Thus, I have explained to you the knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. What we understand here is that faith is not just a contradictory concept, which is opposed to understanding. Rather, it is the culmination of understanding. Just after this, in chapter 18, verse 66, he mentions, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. This is towards the end of Gita, clarifying that surrender is not the first step, it is the last step. Kierkegaard's Knight of Faith, Abraham, appears externally ordinary, yet internally lives by absolute faith. He performs ordinary duties while inwardly trusting God completely. Like Gita's Karma Yogi, who acts in the world without attachment to personal gain, who is nimitta matra, a mere instrument or an apparent cause, the true definition of accepting the cosmic order or God. Ultimately, the yogi does so because he understands his real self, his nature, his delusions. He understands karma and the consequences of it, and not because that's the last thing he can do. Unlike the Knight of Faith, who after completely letting go of everything worldly, believes that through God's power, he will miraculously get it all back. Though the yogi knows that Lord knows. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. The yogi knows, but he doesn't actively seek something or makes it a transaction because that binds him to the cycle of this material world. The reasons are very different. For Kierkegaard, truth is subjectivity. He means that existential truths must be lived, not merely understood intellectually. Certain truths are to be embodied in life and can only be experienced, just like knowing about love is not loving, knowing about courage is not being courageous, knowing about God is not living with God. They require certain experiences and inward transformations to truly exist in one's life. Gita's knowledge delivers Shraddha as a receptive trust that allows knowledge to become realization. Knowledge is not merely collecting concepts. It is a transformation of consciousness, and the Gita repeatedly contrasts information with realization. Kierkegaard explains why objective knowledge is insufficient, but he does not present a detailed psychology of how knowledge becomes realization. But Krishna does. Therefore, Gita is the mother of all philosophies. It's that transformative philosophy which each human is living. According to Kierkegaard, human existence is centered on the individual's relationship with God, which is true. But in Sanatan Dharma, human existence is explained through Atma, Prakriti, Karma, Dharma and the Supreme Lord. Kierkegaard diagnoses many of the same existential conditions that the Bhagavad Gita addresses: despair, anxiety, freedom, authentic selfhood, that is Swadharma, which I've explained in my Purpose of Life video, and faith. He saw the human heart in crisis and came up with these concepts, along with the painful struggle to believe. He showed that every person eventually reaches a moment where life demands a choice that reason alone cannot make. But the Bhagavad Gita begins at that very moment. It does not leave the individual there. Lord Krishna not only understands Arjuna's fear, he reveals its cause. He offers a path towards the resolution to the questions of soul posed by Kierkegaard. One teaches us to confront the questions of existence. The other offers a vision of how those questions can be lived, understood, and ultimately be transcended. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.